Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I was having some mic issues to start, so let me know if you can hear me. It sounded like the music was coming through at the last minute, so I'm hoping y'all can hear me. Let me know in the comments really quick if you can actually hear me. Let me see, just double check here. Yeah, it looks like you can hear me. Okay, I had to check YouTube. Anywho, see, technical gremlins. Gremlins happen, they happen. Anywho, thank you for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and I answer your questions in these weekly Q&A sessions. If you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a poll. And this week, the poll is: do you feel that the goals you've set for 2023 are realistic and achievable? So I think going hand in hand with setting goals, I mean, we really need to be managing our expectations, right? To start. And I think having the right expectations of what you should be achieving at certain stages in creating a business, any business, will help you set the appropriate goals. And in turn, setting the proper plan to achieve those goals, right? I think in the literal sense, we see on social media, we see people all the time flooding our feeds with, hey, do you want to become rich? Make $1,000 an hour? Let's go read audiobooks in your PJs with your iPhone. Now we know, however intriguing that may be, once you get into this business, you quickly realize that that is not true. That is not fact. That is not how audiobooks work. But if that is something that has piqued your interest, that's fine. You're here, you're doing the right thing, you're learning about this business and the process of achieving success, whatever that looks like for you in this business. So you're doing the right thing, I think, and learning about what the appropriate expectations are at certain stages of building this business. And quickly finding out that all of that stuff is not really real. I think at some point it could be achievable, but not in your jammies with your iPhone. Right? I mean, at some point, I mean, ideally we would like to make $1,000 per finished hour, but gosh, that's certainly not me. I don't really ever expect to have that expectation. It would be nice, but I think even someone with as many titles as I've done, I don't expect to ever get there. But you never know, right? All we can keep doing is learning and achieving and training and practicing and getting better at our craft so we can eventually get there. That is an appropriate expectation, right? We can't all assume that we're going to get into this business and right away be making, fistfuls of cash. It's just not the way that it works. It takes time. It's a business. It takes time to start and to flesh out, right? Getting your website and all these profiles and getting the training and the equipment. There's a lot to do. So I think managing our expectations, especially in the beginning, is important. But if you come into this business brand new, you don't know what you don't know. You don't really know what the expectations are. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, especially in beginning setting goals, because you don't really know what to expect. Tangent City, here we come. So let's hop on over to the poll. So far we have 29 votes on today's poll. Do you feel that the goals you've set for 2023 are realistic and achievable? 93% of you said yes. I think that's great. I think that is appropriate. I think that setting a realistic goal, I mean, we all have pie in the sky, right? We know where we ultimately want to end up. But to get there, we need to break that dream down into achievable chunks, right? So I think the fact that the majority of you are saying, yes, I do think that my goals are achievable and realistic is very encouraging. And I'm very proud of all of you for that, because having a realistic goal and maybe even breaking that goal further down into little bite-sized chunks, maybe monthly, quarterly, daily, weekly, I think is going to help you get there, um, to achieve that goal and during that time period that you've set it for. So that's awesome. I'm very glad that you feel that. And for those of you that don't feel that they are achievable and realistic, that's okay too. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about being um, the expectation, right? Because you don't really know what you don't know in the beginning. There's just so much to learn. Everything is just in a foreign language, it seems. So I don't fault you for that. I think now that you know that there is a lot of learning that needs to take place and learning about this business is this industry. I think I was squishing business and industry together. My brain works. But now that you're learning about this business and this industry, maybe you can take that goal that you've already set and maybe revise it, break it down into smaller chunks that are achievable and realistic. But again, I don't fault you for that. There's a lot to learn in the beginning. There's a lot you just can't inherently know, right? You have to learn as you go. Wow. That's awesome. That's fabulous. Fabulous. All right, let's go over to the comments and see who's here. Who's first in today? Who's first in? Shannon Flynn. Good morning from California. Super excited to share news. I listened to your advice that you repeat all the time, saying just do it. I have my first audiobook deal. Congratulations. Everybody, round of applause for Shannon. That's awesome. Congratulations. That is a great way to start a Q&A, is with some great news. Congratulations, Shannon. That's amazing. That's awesome. Chris VGL says, I set at least 5 goals for each month this year. I think breaking down the New Year's resolutions will help to make the goals successful. Absolutely. That's awesome. So 5 goals for each month. Wow. That's a lot. I don't even think I'm I'm terrible at setting goals. I know ideally what I'd like to do, but breaking those down into achievable chunks is difficult for me. So I have goals, but not 5 a month, but that's awesome. Then Shannon says, my goal for this year is to learn more about my DAW. Even though ACX checks out fine, I feel like the quality still needs improvement. Oh, yes, I can totally relate to that. I think we were just talking about this the other day in my platinum group, but one of the best investments I have ever made in my business was engaging a audio engineer to help me improve my sound with my DAW, like helping me to set the proper presets, creating a equalizer preset for me, a couple of shortcuts on my DAW just to make my processing a little bit faster. That was one of the best investments I made a couple of years ago, was getting an audio engineer involved and helping me sort of finesse and massage my sound. And understanding your DAW, whatever your DAW is important, because knowing how to fix something or to make your own recording sound their best is important. And I can't stress enough that me just say that you may see hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube where there are voice actors that share with you their presets, or they share with you some of the plugins that they use to enhance the sound of their voice, to reduce reduce mouth noise, um, things like that. But if it doesn't apply to you and your situation, don't use it. You want to use as little processing as possible. You don't want to apply everything that somebody else in a video is applying to their voiceovers to your voiceovers, because they might not apply. Keep in mind, there are a lot of variables in everybody's home studio. Everybody's mic is different, their placement of their mic, the equipment that they have, the sound of their voice, their proximity to the mic, the shape of their recording studio. There are a lot of variables. So someone else's plugins and effects may not apply to your situation. So if it doesn't apply, don't use it. Example, you have your recording audiobook, so you're very aware that your noise floor has to be within a certain level, right? If your natural noise floor is already below -60, you don't need any noise reducers. So don't go applying NS1 or clarity or any kind of denoise or anything like that if you don't need it, because it's just going to end up maybe taking away from the natural nuances of your voice and end up making you sound tinny or robotic, I've heard. So off on another tangent. Anywho, but learning your DAW is super important. Whichever DAW that it is that you choose, learn it. Watch all the videos about it. It adds to the confidence factor too. More confident in what you can produce. Siobhan says, how many demos do you recommend for someone just starting? I was thinking of doing at least 2, one for children's books with some silly voices, etc., and one for novels. Any thoughts or advice on that? If you're just starting out, I would say do as many demos as you want. If you're interested in different genres, I would say, like you said, maybe you could do one for fiction, one for nonfiction, one for children's book, and then you could take the best pieces of each of those and put them into one big, like, general audiobook demo reel. Because you might have certain situations where a client comes to you specifically for, let's say, a children's book. Then the appropriate response is, here's a demo with my children's book voices on it. But if a publisher reaches out to you and says, hey, we really like your voice, but we service all kinds of clients in all kinds of genres, then you want to give them something with a little bit of a sampling of all of the different genres that you're familiar with and that you can narrate in the appropriate tone. So you're giving them the wide range of what you're capable of in one demo versus just one specific genre. So that's what I would do, is have a demo for each and then one with a little bit of a sampling of all of them. So you're ready in any circumstance, basically. Hope that makes sense. Anthony's here. Hello, Anthony. Anthony says, my wife and I are waiting on our recording studio equipment to be delivered. Have fun shopping. It should be on the next 2 or 3 days. What can we do in the meantime to further our goals? Watch YouTube videos. Watch YouTube videos on whatever DAW it is that you've chosen to use. Because if you don't have your equipment, you can't really practice with it yet. But I would watch all of the tutorials that you can on it. I would get involved in Facebook groups, find a mentor, find some training groups, find a coach if you want. I would say your studio equipment is important. Also, your recording space is important. Because I've said it a million times, and I'm sorry if your ears are bleeding from hearing me say it, but if you have a $50 mic or a $5,000 mic, that $5,000 mic is just going to enhance the sound of your bad room, the bad quality of your room. And so focusing on your recording space itself is going to be one of the most important aspects. So, and while you're waiting for all this stuff to arrive, take a hard look at whatever space that you've chosen to record in and get studio acoustic tiles or moving blankets, as I've done in here, to reduce the the bare walls, basically, around you. And that also goes for your desktop, your monitor, the doors, the floor, the ceiling, anything that can reflect your voice, any smooth, hard surfaces that are going to reflect your voice and cause echo, you want to reduce or remove. And your computer typically makes some sort of noise, where either it's a fan or something inside of it is spinning or moving, depending on what kind of computer or how old it is. So you might want to consider moving that away from wherever you're planning on recording. For example, my computer, all of its noisy components are outside of this room to help reduce some of the sound. I don't think you can hear it even now, but the door is open and the computer's sitting right there. But um, I try to remove any kind of noise in here so your recordings are clean. But practice when you get your equipment and do all the training and absorb all the information that you can while you guys are waiting. JCCAOL is here. Hello, hello. Happy New Year to Angela and the entire VO community. Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year to you all. EPHS, hello. My goal is to get into the technical setup and editing for voiceover, video, and many other areas of creative production. That and challenge myself more in the development of more character voices. I think those are all good things. I myself have gotten into just that, the editing side and adding video. I think if you can get to a point where you're sort of a one-stop shop for your client, if you can offer them more than just voiceover, you will be much more valuable to your clients because they won't have to go and find other freelancers to do that stuff if you can do it, right? If you can create simple videos to add voice and record your voiceover and maybe mix in music for, like, let's just say a meditation video. If you know how to do that, that makes you so much more valuable um, to your clients. Absolutely, learning all of that stuff and editing audio. There's a lot of people that know how to record it with their iPhone, like we talked about earlier, but how do we edit it and format it? They don't know. They might not know, right? You could be that guy. You could be that person that they come to have those services done. So learn it all. Learn it all. Add all of those tools to your tool belt. Absolutely. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Morning. How's Oregon today? Probably rainy. We're rainy here in Phoenix. Phil. Hi, Phil. Hey, Angela. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Phil. How are ya? Dan Maynard is here. Yup. Oh, that must have been when I said, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Kirk says loud and clear. Good, good. Yeah, I was having mic issues. I think my interface wasn't communicating for some odd reason, so I had to turn it off, turn it back on, and it was working like in the last 20 seconds before I came on live. Oh my God. Ren says we can hear you. Good. Shannon, yes. Thank you guys. Anthony can be heard. Perfect. Thank you guys. Katerine. I hope I'm saying that right. Hello. Hello, hello. Hat Powser's here. Good morning. Good morning. Katerine. Did I ask you this before? I want to say this name is familiar. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to butcher it. I'm starting my first audiobook today. Awesome. And I have a second project, a long one. So let's see how it goes. Take your time, pace yourself. You will get through it. The bigger ones are daunting, but you can eat that elephant one bite at a time. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Just break it into chunks. You'll get there. Charles says, hi. Hi, Charles. Elizabeth is here. Hello, Elizabeth. Happy New Year, Angela. I have big Fiverr goals. I watched your subscriptions on Fiverr video and was wondering if you have any follow-up thoughts on offering subscriptions on gigs, please. Thank you. The only gig that I have, well, no, that's not true. I I think I have subscriptions activated on most of my gigs, but the only one that actually gets subscriptions is my podcast editing gig, which makes sense because podcast editing is sometimes a monthly or weekly thing. But the trick is with my weekly podcast clients, the subscription itself is monthly. So that means that my weekly clients get a discount on one of their orders in the month. So I guess that's still a discount, but that's not it's not really designed for weekly purchases. It's more or less designed for monthly purchases. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's I mean, me personally, I have used it from the buyer side, hiring somebody on the monthly basis when I was getting help with making some social media content. I was hiring someone to help me with that on a monthly basis and they had a subscription service. So I in essence saved, I forget what it was now. I think it was 5%, 10%, whatever it was every month, which which was very helpful, to save me a couple of bucks every month. And I think it's a good thing, but it's not really something that I see going to be useful for voiceover unless you're doing perhaps maybe YouTube videos for somebody. If you're narrating YouTube videos on a monthly, weekly basis, that could be something advantageous for them. It could be the one thing that sets you apart from many other people. It could be, I would say use it. Have it activated on your profile if it's available to you. Use the subscriptions, but just make sure that your clients know that it's on a monthly basis, not a weekly, daily, anything like that. Oh, I just saw a super chat. Thank you, Louie. I appreciate you. Um, when re-uploading your Q&A to Facebook, place at everyone, place at everyone at the beginning of your post to tag everyone in the VO group. Oh, thank you for that. Learn something new every day. Thank you so much for the super chat, Louie, too. I appreciate you. You're awesome. And of course, I lost my place. Thanks, Louie. Savannah says, "Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm tuning in while remodeling my booth for the fourth time." Sometimes you got to, right? Sometimes you got to. That's awesome. That's cool. Be sure to share pictures somewhere. We like to see. Everybody likes to see booth remodeling. Might give somebody else an idea on what to do for their own booth. Voiceover Van Deen is here. Good morning, good afternoon to you, sir. Yearly goals are too big to be the only ones you set. Work with daily plus weekly plus monthly plus yearly and review them regularly. Perfectly stated. Yeah, absolutely. I need to do that myself, actually. JCCAOL says, Angela or anybody else that uses Audible, any recommendations? I would be interested. I'm currently listening to The Ghosts of Gotham, read by Susanna Jones. So far, so good. You mean as far as listens? Oh, I've always been a fan, and I've listened to it twice now, was Pet Cemetery, read by, is it Michael C. Hall, the guy that played Dexter? It's a Stephen King book, Pet Cemetery. It was very good. Um, I just listened to, of course, I'm a Scott Brick fan. Jurassic Park by Scott Brick was very good. I'll have to think about that. If anybody else has great listens on Audible that they recommend, please share them in the comments or in the chat. Or if you're watching this later, please share them in the comments. Good question. Mark Flores is here. Good morning, Angela. Hope you're having a happy new year. So far, so good, Mark. So far, so good. Thank you so much. E-bike advocate is clapping. Yay. Lots of great success so far today on the chat. Kari, oh, I think you told me this already. Is it Kari or Kari? Oh my God. A little off topic, but do you have any tips regarding posture and physical health while spending so much time on computers editing? I'm not used to it. It's tough. I tend to sit, I don't know if you can even really tell, but I'm sitting straight up, especially when I record, I'm sitting straight up. I have a lumbar pillow behind me that sort of helps my back, and I have to consciously not allow myself to slump, because then you'll end up with that, you know, bad back and probably headaches and neck aches and all of the stuff that goes with bad posture. But sitting straight up for me is definitely helpful. And I think also when you're sitting for long periods of time, that's not good for your heart either. So, me, myself, I have set myself a time limit 2, 3 hours max, and I'm up. I shut everything down, right? I finish what I'm doing, I shut down my computer, and I go take a break. I'll go do laundry, I'll go take a walk. I mean, I'll go run an errand, go get groceries. I'll do something to get me out of this chair every 2 or 3 hours max. Go have lunch, whatever it is. Go walk the dog, but do something active every 2 to 3 hours. Go to the gym, right? Um, or something. Something just came in as an idea, and it flew away as quick as it came in. I'm sure it'll come back to me though. But yeah, don't sit for hours at a time. It's not good for you. Jason says, "Good morning and happy new year to you and everyone." Good morning, Jason. Happy New Year. Regarding social media, when I start doing VO, should I make a new Facebook, Instagram, etc., or just hijack my current ones? For me, I'm kept my personal Facebook page, and then I added a business page, and then I created my group. So that's how I did it on Instagram. But I I'm sort of an introvert, so I didn't really have a whole lot of social media to start. So I created fresh an Instagram business account, Twitter, and I had a LinkedIn, and I just made a business page on LinkedIn. But I think you can hijack, as you say, your current accounts to make them business accounts if you want, or just create all new ones. I think it's really up to you. I don't think it really matters what is what, although you might have some extra benefits if they're actually like a business page. I think you'll have more tools for marketing and that sort of thing if they are actually business pages. So that's really the only thing that comes to mind for that. But I think you can do it either way and be fine as long as you're marketing, as long as you're making content, I think is what's most important. Andy B, hi Andy, started to send a question, but I don't see it. In your opinion, what are the steps in order of importance for new VOs just starting out? I would say if you're just starting out this year, if you just found me for the first time and you are just interested in VO, I would say learn all you can first. Watch all of the YouTube videos, you know, mine Anthony Pica's, a VO's journey, watch some Booth Junkie, watch The Gift of Gab, Bill DeWeese. There are a lot of great voice actors here on YouTube that have a lot of great videos on everything, just about everything that I have ever needed to know. I have been able to find on somebody's YouTube channel. Learn all you can, soak it all in, be a sponge. And some people will have differing opinions on things, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But, take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And then go into discovering what kind of equipment you want to start with, right? You don't have to start with a $4,000 U87. You don't have to do that. You can start with something that's a little bit, cost effective. I've gone and purchased a Lewitt 440 microphone that requires an interface, but I mean, for the price point, it's a great microphone. I think it was like 250-ish. And I think some of the USB mics are getting up there in price, but they're almost just as good as XLR mics anymore. I mean, the technology just changes every year. But I feel a tangent coming on. But your equipment, start researching what kind of equipment you're going to need. Really take a hard look at what you have available to you in your chosen place to do this, and find some place that you can make a dedicated recording space. And then work on that recording space. Like I was saying earlier, treat it, sound treat it, right? Get some books a great book, and I've shared this a couple times before. A great book to have. Hold, please. Is this one here? Voiceover, Voice Actor. This is a great book. Read it. Do all of the learning and research that you can. Again, maybe join some Facebook groups and ask questions. Absorb, learn. Um, I would say find training and a mentor, as I did earlier, but it really helps to have your equipment first and maybe be somewhat familiar with your DAW first. That way, everything that your coach or mentor is saying to you, you understand and can hopefully replicate on your own if you have equipment. But in the very beginning, figure out where you're going to record, learn everything that you can, and start researching equipment. And joining some Facebook groups and start just absorbing. Mandy says, what's going on with the inner part of your pop filter? What do you mean? What is going on with it? Is it doing something? What am I missing? Is it doing something weird? No? I think it's okay. What am I missing? Melina Joy says, clapping, yay. Shannon Flynn says, ooh, audio engineer sounds good to me. Thank you for the heads up on that. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best investments I've ever made. For sure. VoiceOver Van Deen says, at Man Designs, looks like reflections from lights. Oh, is that what we're talking about? Yeah, I have a ring light up here. I think that's what we're talking about, is the reflections from my ring light. Okay. Don't say stuff like that. You just scare me. Like, I don't need everything in here to blow up right now. Mandy says at VoiceOver Vandine, hi, fancy seeing you here. Yeah, that white part looks like tape. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. No, it's just light reflections. Melina says, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Morning. Michael V. Hi, Michael V. I just got RX10 standard. Here's to getting rid of those mouth clicks. Absolutely. Another great investment. One of the best investments I made was getting the suite of RX, Isotopes RX audio repair plugins. And standard is the package, right? You have elements, standard, and advanced. And the mouth declick plugin, which is worth its weight in gold, it gets rid of all the sticky mouth noises, is only available in the standard and the advanced. Last time I checked, I don't know if that's changed at all, but it's not available in the Elements package, which is the smallest package, of course. But mouth declick, one of my favorite plugins. VoiceOver Van Deen says at Mandy, hi. Yeah, this is my end of day chill out time on Tuesdays. Just drinking tea, keeping the frog to himself, which I appreciate. Twisted 681, is Angela about to go off on tangent about getting sidetracked with tangent? Yeah. I mean, if you've watched me for any period of time, you know it doesn't really take much to go off on tangents, and then maybe sometimes tangents about tangents. Grant. Hey, Grant. Good morning, Angela and everyone. I have 3 goals for the year. 12 published audiobooks, average $250 per finished hour rate, and start a YouTube channel. More to come on this one. That's great. I think those are great goals. Totally doable, too. Totally doable. Go get it, Grant. Go get it. Chris VGL says, I've been practicing reading my books out loud for the past 2 months, prepping to do audiobooks. How long should a new VO read for in one session? I just broke my voice yesterday reading too much. Again, same thing as I said before, 2 to 3 hours max. And then I get up and take a break, not only for my physical health, but also to save my voice. Because once you're a voice actor or a narrator, this is your instrument. This is your money maker. This is your income. This is everything. You want to take care of it, right? Go drink some warm tea if it feels good. Give your voice a break. when I come back from my 2-hour break, if I'm in the middle of recording an audiobook, I'll record and then I'll edit. I'll just take little breaks and give my voice a break. If I'm talking for an hour or 2 straight, give it a rest. Give it a rest. And it might even take some time to get up to that point. You might be talking for 20, 30 minutes and then have to stop, and that's fine. It takes a while to get up to that point if you're not used to talking out loud that much. If you had a job where maybe you were remote for a long period of time and you didn't really have to speak a whole lot, for long extended periods of time, it might take you a little while to get there. And that's okay too. Just keep doing it and you will get there. It's muscles. Muscles. You just work out the muscles, right? Lorna's Adventures After 50. Happy 2023. I am going back over basics and taking the adventurous snail route to get momentum on solid ground with new equipment, learning to post VO video, then posting while also auditioning. Sounds like it's okay if you take the adventurous snail route as long as you're moving forward. Big strides or little baby steps, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're moving forward, just keep moving forward. Love it. Mecha Die. I said it right this time, Blaze. Hit that like button, people. Happy New Year, Angela. Thank you, Blaze. You're a doll. Thanks for being here, by the way. It's good to see you. Bayou Voiceovers LLC. Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year. Janari says, hi, Angela. Hi, Janari. Good to see ya. Charles Black. I am an author who wants to self-narrate. I realize this is no frolic through the park now that I have got involved. I do not want to take up too much time in this chat. Can I reach out another time? Of course, if you'd like to. I love it when authors self-narrate, but it is a job. And when I say job, I mean it's narrating an audiobook is work. And it takes more physical effort than you would think because, yeah, you might be sitting or standing, however you want to do it, but projecting your voice for long periods of time or maybe even character work and it's work and it can be exhausting. But yeah, absolutely. Reach out. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Catherine, but without the H. Okay, so Catherine. Right? Thank you for that. Wow. Dan Maynard says, wow, you said my last name right. Awesome. Yay. I just said one thing right today. On the fence of buying used online or just a newer, cheaper microphone. Didn't want to spend $500 if I failed down. I did radio for 8 years and missed production. I'm going to say it, Dan. I'm going to say you don't have to spend. Well, if you're looking at an XLR mic and an interface, perhaps. But I would have more faith in yourself. I think if you were in radio for 8 years and you're at least familiar with the production side of it, I think you already have a leg up over most people who have absolutely no knowledge of anything and getting started in this industry. I would say invest it in yourself. If it doesn't work, you can always sell it. But I would say invest in something that is going to be quality. Invest in something. I always say buy used if you need to, but really as a temporary solution because it's not warranted. I've never really had anything break down on me, but you never know. And you never know how the thing that you've purchased used has been treated. But I would say maybe look at something pre-owned from a reputable source, right? Don't just go to Craigslist. That's probably where I wouldn't go. I might go to Sweetwater, look at their used stuff. I would go to, there's a Facebook marketplace. And if you know which one I'm talking about, it's for voiceover gear, really specifically, where voice artists buy and sell stuff from each other. But go to somewhere where you think that's going to be reputable, right? That you're not going to get scammed or end up buying something that's broken. But go used if you have to, see if you like it, and then trade up from there. But invest in something that's going to be quality, I think. If you're one of those people that likes to have um, warranties, like me, then buy something new. But don't discount yourself from the start. Tell yourself that this is going to be great. You're investing in yourself and you're going to make this work one way or the other. Think positively, my friend. That mindset will take you far. Dan Maynard said, saying, I missed the production, so I think I can do this. Loved it. I missed the production, so I think I can do this. You know you can do this. Hiker lady. A great username. Setting up my studio as we speak. I glue gun the acoustic panels to a cardboard poster panels, and then they are coming loose. Any ideas? Um, when I was initially using the acoustic tiles, the little foam squares, I would take spray adhesive, and much like you, I would put those on a poster board, and then I would use these really big, like, thumbtack things, which I'm using now for my moving blankets, and thumbtack the poster board to the wall. So, that's what I did. I didn't use a glue gun, though, but you think that would make it fairly solid, but I used, spray adhesive, and it seemed to work. Letty is here. Voiceover joy, happy New Year, Angela, to you and the VO family. Absolutely. Happy New Year to you, Letty. You know what we should do? Let's go over and check out the poll. So today's poll again was, do you feel, now that you've set goals for 2023, hopefully, do you feel that the goals you've set for 2023 are realistic and achievable? Because that is going to help you achieve the goals, right? We all know what we want ultimately, but we can't expect to have that ultimate level of success within a year. I mean, it might happen, but is it realistic for most of us? Probably not. All right, let's go look at the polls. So, right now we have 54 votes, and it looks like still 93% of you said yes, and 7% said no. I think that's great. And again, I'm very, very proud of all of you for setting realistic and achievable goals for the year. But for those of you that said no, that's okay. You can revise your goals because, again, as I said at the beginning, you don't know what you don't know in the beginning of something new. So revise your goals. Learn all that you can about what it is that you want to do in this industry. If there's a specific niche that you want to work on, or just audiobooks, or just commercials, or just IVR, or just video games, whatever it is, and get good at it. Learn all you can about it. Get coaching, get a mentor, learn all that you can. And then you'll have a better understanding of what it's going to take to achieve those goals and then revise those goals if you want to. You don't have to even have goals. It's just something to help you move and celebrate the journey along the way. So you don't necessarily have to have goals. I mean, it's definitely helpful to help you achieve your definition of success, or that place called that we call there when I get there. But you don't have to have them. That's awesome, though. I'm glad the vast majority of you said, yeah, set realistic and achievable goals. That's great. Awesome, guys. All right. Now, where did I leave off? Here I am. Siobhan says, I'm wondering if you have any advice on caring for your voice. I do struggle with allergies and asthma, so I know a few things, but I'm curious what professionals do to help. I have heard there are lozenges, throat sprays. I've seen those steam inhaler things. I got one for Christmas, but I have yet to use it. I should probably try that and see if it works. But I've seen a lot of voice actors, especially this winter season, using that. Apparently, that's good for congestion, for clearing up the sinuses and all the gook, right? But I think resting and hydrating are definitely important. Um, But the throat sprays I've heard are very good in a pinch, but I think just ultimately caring for your health, your vocal health is just rest and relaxation, hydration, just taking care of yourself, getting exercise. But when the congestions come, I'm really anxious to try that personal steam inhaler thing. Really want to try that. Andy B says, at one of the radio stations at which I worked, announcers or air talent had to stand in front of the microphone. The understanding with the voice is clear and articulation is better. Yeah, because you have better control over your diaphragm when you're standing. Plus, I think it's a little bit easier to move when you're standing. Um, I have sat in this chair because I don't have room to stand. I'm looking forward to the day where I can move into a bigger house and actually have a booth that I can stand in to do my work. Although I do a lot of long form narration, so it'd be hard to stand for hours on end. But I've been sitting and I think I've done okay with sitting, but I think it's really a preference. But I can see what you mean because you do have better control over your diaphragm. But I have been told that I am too articulate many a time, and I sit. Shannon says, I decided that when I'm notified I was not chosen to produce an audiobook, that I will reach out to the author asking what would make me a better candidate for their next book. You could, but I think you'll find that most of the time you just weren't the voice they were looking for. Not anything that you did or didn't do. And to be honest, if they're going through 50 to 100 auditions, they might not even really remember which one yours was. They're going through listening to the first few seconds of an audition and deciding at that point if they want to continue listening or move on to the next one. You could. There are some really great clients that I've had that have taken the time to send me a message and say, "Hey, we really liked your voice. We've put you in a short list of 3. We're just narrowing it down." Sometimes it's just a quick no thank you and they move on. Or sometimes you just don't hear back from a client at all. And all of those are completely normal. But I would I mean, you could reach out and ask the author why you weren't chosen. You may or may not get a response, unfortunately. But it would be nice to know, right? If it was something that they heard that maybe you don't hear because you were just used to hearing our own voices, that would be interesting to know. But you could probably also find out from other voice actors, possibly people with the ear that we have, that you inherently have, that you develop when you're doing this sort of thing, play the audition for them and see what they say. But I think most of the time it's just you're not the voice they were looking for. They had something in mind and you weren't it. Nothing that you could have done better or changed, right? Mandy says, I'd love to see someone set up if they have their computer outside of their booth or room. I actually did a walkthrough a while back, I think, of my studio space where I did just that. I had this, it's not the best video quality because I just had this little crappy video camera, but I did. I just showed you guys where my computer sat outside of my room and then my little tiny 5x6 studio in here. Um, but yeah, it's always interesting to see everybody's setup because everybody's got, some people get really into it and make these custom built spaces that are just amazing to watch. And you learn so much from just watching their progress. Shannon says, I had very positive feedback from an author doing this. She told me additionally that she would definitely keep me in mind for future projects. It's always great. Make sure you always respond to those. Thank you for the update. Thank you for taking the time. I'll be here. Right. Love it. Mandy says, Christopher Tester is amazing. Christopher Tester is amazing at what? Audio engineer? I'm unfamiliar with this name. But let me know so I can share. Hat Pauser says, can you hold up that book again or give the author? Oh, yeah. Hold on. It's also on my website on for recommended gear. It's VoiceOver Voice Actor. Ooh, the extended edition by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. It's got a lot of great stuff in it. Warm-ups, tongue twisters, setups, practice scripts. I mean, all kinds of great stuff. E-bike advocate says it's just a reflection. Oh, the light on my pop filter. Got me all worried. Grant says, I'm wondering, do most narrators continue auditioning while in the process of narrating an audiobook? I'm finding it difficult to even think about auditioning until I've completed my current project. Yeah, I would. I mean, you don't have to. You could wait till you're about halfway through, three-quarters of the way through, and start auditioning again. Because by the time that your book is done, you might have another one right after. Or you might have just the perfect timing in which you finish this book and then the author's deciding on all of the auditions that they've received. Yes, I'm applying lip moisturizer. But yeah, why not? Do it. Andy B says, oh my God, I think I have done all the stuff you mentioned. I have been on the sidelines since 2019 and have equipment from my aborted attempt at an online radio station. There are a few things left. Well, then what is it that is stopping you at this point, Andy? What is stopping you? I know I've been talking to you on my lives for a while. You've been in my Facebook group for a while. What is holding you back from getting this off the ground? I believe in you, Andy. Tiffany's 80s Dream says, hi, Angela. Hi, Tiffany. What are your suggestions for someone like myself who needs a huge push to complete goals? I tend to resist putting in work sometimes. What do you suggest? I think your why for me is going to be a huge motivator in getting things done. What is the ultimate reason for starting this business? What is your why? Your why is going to get you through the goals. For me, it was the love of books and the fact that I wanted to have something that I enjoyed doing that would enable me to spend more time with my son. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a present parent, you know. So that why was a big motivator to get things done. Um, I think the last few years have been exceptionally tough on a lot of people. And it's hard sometimes to think positively to move forward. But I think that's really the thing that is going to get you out of the slump is just by thinking positively, reprogramming the I can't, I don't, I won't, I couldn't to I can, I will, and I do. Because you even telling yourself these things is going to help you manifest them. Because when we tell ourselves that we can't, we don't, we won't, you're telling yourself that you can't instead of telling yourself that you can. And then your brain will believe it because you're affirming that you can't. You're affirming that you don't or you won't. Flip it around. Say you can, I will. I don't care how long it's going to take me, but this is where I want to be and this is what I'm going to do. And again, don't be too hard on yourself if you can't achieve a goal. Celebrate when you do, but if you can't, then just maybe revise it, take another look at it, revise it, and try again. And just keep going for it. I know it's tough. But just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Just keep swimming. Is it Chanel Miller? Hello, Angela and everyone. I love, love, love your videos. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. I still feel like my editing takes so long. Is that normal? I sometimes feel like the PFH rate isn't enough to cover my time. In the beginning, we all have taken I don't want to say we all, I don't want to speak for everybody, but most people that I know, including myself, have started at a very low per finished hour rate because we're still learning. We're still processing and learning how to edit and to streamline our process and to pace ourselves and learn how to breathe and where to breathe and all of the things that come with narration and audiobook narration. So it does seem like that in the beginning, but as you progress and get better and get training and more confident, and your editing process is starting to go from 6 hours, to edit 1 hour of audio to a ratio of 2 to 1 or 1 to 1, then that is when you can start increasing your rate, or you can start out at a higher rate. I mean, the rate is whatever you want it to be, but that's pretty typical. Pretty typical, I would say. But it does get better the more experienced you get. Kirk says, another beginner tip. Before you even get equipment, read a book out loud. Make sure you like the reality of reading for work rather than joy of reading for pleasure. VO is a joy, but it is work. Kirk, always on point with your comments. Indeed. He's absolutely right. Hat Powser says, hashtag tangents. Siobhan says, I find your tangents to be helpful. Happy rabbit trailing. Oh my God. Mandy says, I'm contemplating Don Barnes' new RX10 course, but I use Reaper and I'm unsure if that will throw it all off. I don't know much about Reaper. I really don't, but I know Don Barnes and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Isotope RX plugins. So I would definitely take it, because even though he may be using a different DAW in the course, the application information that he's going to share about the plugins themselves, I think will be definitely worth it to learn about what the plugins do. And then you can learn maybe how to apply it to Reaper. I'd still say it's worth it. Michael V says, your tangents usually end up having gold nuggets in them. Well, I sure hope so. You guys aren't just rolling your eyes every time I go on a tangent. So I hope so. I mean, that's where my brain is going anyway. It's going, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I just need to get there. There's just a few different paths to get there. Letty says, I love your tangents. Oh my gosh, this is my life. Tangent monger. Affiliate power source Louis says, what was the most you've got paid for? What was the most you've got paid for the least amount of voiceover work? I would say it was last year. I was paid for 5 words and it was almost $200, I think, with all of the extras and rights and all of the things that went with it. I think it was 5 words it was almost $200. Mandy says, Blaze. Yes, Blaze. Mechadie. I didn't say Mechadie this time, Blaze. Are you proud? Eric, you had to tell me that, though. Eric says, good morning, Angela. Good morning, Eric. Can't be a productive part of the chat this AM. Wanted to say hi. Well, I hope whatever you're doing is fun, Eric. But thank you for joining. Kirk, LOL. Of course, you addressed my tip before you got to it. Oh, wow. Great minds. We just think alike, right? Kirk. Janeri says, Angela, Happy New Year. For ACX, in order to avoid being scammed, is it okay to email ACX and ask them if the book I'm reading is legit? I would reach out to whomever you're speaking with on ACX, the rights holder. Or maybe perhaps do a little Scooby-Doo on them if it's a name. Let's just say the author's name is Cat Smith. Google Cat Smith. find them on Amazon. If they have a author's page, which most authors do, if you write a book, you create an author's page. That's what you do. A website. Reach out to that person and say, hey, I see that you have a book on ACX. I just wanted to confirm that this is in fact you. And maybe I can send you my audition here directly, or maybe I just wanted to check out some of the other books that you have done. I mean, something to strike up a conversation just to verify that they are in fact the person who has this book on ACX. That's what I would do, because ACX is only limited to what information they are given, right? I would go directly to the source, to the rights holder, the author, the production company, and say, hey, do you have this book? Probably the author, more like the author, whomever owns the rights to the book. I would find them and reach out to them directly to verify that. JCC AOL says, I heard someone mention that they read out loud. I have been doing the same. It's a good way to prepare. I would say when practicing, break it down into small segments and see if that works. The book that you're reading out loud. Yeah, that is definitely a way to prepare, because it's a marathon. Narrating books is a marathon. I mean, if you get winded after 2 pages out loud, you might need to practice, because you will be chapters and chapters and chapters, sometimes in a single sitting, depending on how much time you have to do this book, or whatever the circumstance is. Narrating an audiobook is definitely a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is not easy. And not only the narrating aspect, but then you also have to be familiar with your DAW in order to be able to effectively edit that audio and then format it properly for ACX's standards. And when I say that, I mean the proper sample rate, the RMS level, your noise floor. I mean, there's a lot more to it than, as those social media posts you see. It's more than just sitting in your jammies recording a book on your iPhone. There's a lot more to it than that. Randy says, do you have a video for using GarageBand for VO? I don't. I used Audacity for like 2 or 3 months, perhaps, 4.5 years ago. But I've been using Audition for many years now, and that is the only DAW that I have used and I'm familiar with. I'm not really familiar with Reaper. I'm not familiar with GarageBand. I'm not familiar with Studio One. I'm not, I Audition, and what I can remember of Audacity from all those years ago. That's all I've worked with. I bet you anything, though, if you searched, if you search GarageBand in YouTube, I bet you there'll be a lot of videos that pop up with people giving advice on what to do and what not to do with it. But I am not that person. Andy says, maybe OfferUp or Reverb or eBay or Facebook Marketplace for used. And BSW USA, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center, and Sweetwater for new equipment. Yes. Thank you for that, Andy. Absolutely. EPHS says use Loctite adhesive or 3M Super 77 for adhering the studio tiles to poster board. Super 77, is that like a double-sided tape or like a spray adhesive? What is that? I know what Loctite is. Chris VGL says at JCC AOL, I was reading while doing what is called audible editing. It's an author's trick when you don't have other people to edit for you. I went 5 days at 4.5 hours a day. Wow. Shannon Flynn says, I used a staple gun for my acoustic. That'd do it. That'll keep them buggers on the wall. VoiceOver Van Deen says, at Mandy Zine's voice, as long as you're using Reaper under Windows or Mac, the main isotope features for VO, mouth declick, etc. can be ran as FX on the track. Plus, Reaper can use RX as an external editor. Oh, that's right. I do know that. I know someone who does that in my group. They use RX as a standalone application, like they export files from Reaper into RX and then manipulate them there, which is kind of cool. But I use everything in audition. So I don't know how to do that part, but I know that that's possible. The Vulcaneer says, Happy New Year, Angela. Happy New Year to you. When I audition, I notice some clients want VOs to provide a headshot. Why would they need that if they're hiring me for my voice, not how I look? Um, that's interesting. I have never been asked for a headshot for VO unless they're looking for on-camera voiceover. Meaning excuse me, meaning that you're going to be perhaps on-screen e-learning, on-screen video tutorials. They're looking for someone to be also the face along with the voice. Is the only thing I can think of. But I've never been asked for a headshot from a client. Profile are platforms, right? Casting sites, sure. But clients? Mm-mm. That's the only thing I can think of. Mandy says at VoiceOver Vandine, thanks. I think he advertises a one-click setup in the RX standalone editor. So I don't know about the interaction between recording and Reaper than doing whatever there. I don't know if he goes over that, but Don Barnes, I would definitely take his course on RX plugins for sure. Period. Gary says, my goals can be reasonable because I don't set too many, especially for the entire year. And that's okay. I think as long as you have a plan, goals can help you have a plan for the year and how to get to where you want to be at certain points in the year. I think that's good as long as they're reasonable. Even if you just have one or two, I think that's good. It's better than none. It'll help you get to where you want to be. Elizabeth says, thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate how kind and giving you are with your tips and advice. You always inspire me, and I love tuning into your weekly live sessions. Here comes the frog, VoiceOver Vandine. You were supposed to keep him with you. You're welcome. Again, when I first started this channel, I wanted to be just helpful, just to pay it forward, so to speak, to share with people that also want to do this what I have learned and what I have experienced in my years of doing this so far. So I just want to help as best I can. So thank you for that. And thank you for watching, everybody that spends a little bit of time here every week with us. Shannon says, the author said she really liked my voice. She decided to go in a different direction at the last minute. So she probably heard somebody and said, oh, that's the voice I was looking for, right? But if they keep you in mind for future projects, that's also good news, right? Gary says, Angela, you've mentioned how many auditions an author may get. True. Because of this, let me add a suggestion for 2023, especially for newbies. Audition all you can on ACX, plenty of free scripts. Yes, absolutely. And not only that, but then you'll have a ton of samples for your demos, right? Do it. Audition, 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 audition. And I want to say, for those of you in my Facebook group, the VO Workshop, Troy has just posted, I think, his podcast. I think I saw that this morning. I'm in a mastermind group with him, and he was talking about doing this podcast that was auditions and then sharing the experience from like a casting director from their perspective with auditions. And the whole concept of that was very interesting. And I think he posted that in our group. So if you're in there, go check that out. I bet you it's amazing. I'm going to go listen to it after this. But yes, audition, audition, audition. And don't audition once and then sit and hold your breath. Go audition more. It's a numbers game. JCC AOL says, if anyone has had issues with throat or cough, there are some videos on YouTube that show how to do huff, cough, breathing techniques. I tried it and felt much better. Oh. Does it help with frogs, though? Because can we call it a huff? frog remover breathing technique. I need to try that. I'm gonna go try that too. Thank you, JCCAOL. Andy B says, I forgot I had a Kindle account, so I got a free download of the book you showed. But I have 3 other books, don't make time daily for reading. Do you refer back to the VO book? Do I refer back to it? Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of great stuff in here that you forget, right? Because you sort of build your own path to where you want to be. And you might forget or skip over or maybe never even heard of something that could save you time or maybe something that just sparks that aha in your head, right? I am continually learning and improving and learning all that I can, even at this stage. Even when I'm full time and established, I'm still learning all the time. I refer back to books a lot, especially this one. That's why it still sits in my studio because I refer to it. Letty says, a few months ago, I wanted to start narrating audiobooks in Spanish for ACX, but they told me is not allowed for my country. It's a pity since Spanish is spoken for more than 600. Yeah. But ACX is not the only place, excuse me, where you can find audiobook work. You can find audiobook work on just about every other platform. Fiverr, Upwork, Freelancer, Guru, Voquint, Backstage. You can market directly to authors or publishers. You don't have to rely on just ACX because you're right. There are a lot of books that are in Spanish or want to be narrated or need to be narrated in Spanish. Absolutely. You don't have to just, no, go elsewhere. Seek audiobook work elsewhere. Siobhan says, starting to work on the goals today, cleaning out the proverbial closet and making room for equipment. And I bought a small table to put in there. Thank you for keeping us motivated. Hashtag just do it. I love it. Just do it already. GJ Rollon 68. Sorry if I'm saying that right. I need to put my glasses on. Hi, Angela. Which comes first, paid VO work or a registered business entity for tax purposes? You can get paid VO work as a freelancer, but I think once you get to a certain point in dollars, I believe, and I'm not any kind of tax professional, so I can't give you tax advice or anything like that, or any kind of professional, just so you know. But from what I understand, there's a certain dollar amount that you need to, or once you hit a certain dollar amount, then you need to start paying taxes as a business, right? So I would definitely look into those situations, but you can make money as a freelancer. You don't have to be an established LLC to do this, to start. Good question. Chris VGL says, Andy B, stop procrastinating and adopt the mantra, just do it. Go record something. I forgot about that. Just do it. Go record something. Right, Chris? We believe you can do it, Andy. We're behind you. Just do it. Just do it already. Rip off the Band-Aid and just go record something. Just go do it. Suzette, affirmation candles. Hello, Angela. Thank you for all. Where can I find material to create my demo? My voice is soothing and relaxing. Not sure if that matters. It does matter because if your voice is soothing and relaxing, you can be really great at meditation or some sort of a healing with your voice. I do a lot of these affirmations, things of that nature, sleep stories, lots of affirmations and lots of meditations if your voice is soothing and relaxing. But to find material to create your demo, you could write it yourself. Take a listen to some of the commercials and everything that you hear every day and how it's worded. What is the purpose of this commercial? Does it make me feel like it's luxurious? Does it make me feel like I'm excited, like I'm sad, like I need to act on something? What is the purpose? How does this make me feel? What is the audience of what it is that I'm listening to? And write your own if you want. But if you're looking for demo material for like an audiobook, um, on ACX, if you're working with ACX, they say that you can use a book off your shelf. And if the author has an issue with that, then they'll happily remove it. But if you're wanting to find something that doesn't have any kind of copyrights to it at all, you could go to projectgutenberg.org. That is a site where there are hundreds of books that are in the public domain, meaning they're out of copyright. So you can use those to have something to narrate, some copy to narrate for creating a demo. But there's nothing that says you can't write your own either. So write your own if you want to, you know. Oh, just saw a super chat. Hold on. Shannon. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your wonderful advice and encouragement. Your advice is money in bank. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. It was very nice. I'm just glad to help, guys. Just glad to help. Okay, where am I? Lost my place. Shannon, just do it, Andy. You've got this. See? Just audition. See, Andy? See? Just go record something. Siobhan Williams, curious. Do you read all the way through an assignment before recording, specifically a long one, or you take it in snippets? I think it depends on how long it is. If it's a really long one, I'll do it in snippets. If it's a book, it's ideal if you can read through it first, just to have the overall tone. If there's a plot, you'll need to know what happens at the end to help build that suspense throughout the book. I mean, ideally read through it, so you have a better understanding of what it is and a better interpretation of that script. But if it's, I find that a lot of e-learning, which is just like how-tos or knowledge, stuff like that, it doesn't really require understanding a plot or anything like that at the end. You may need to look through it to look up word pronunciations, but I mean, you could also do that as you move along. So I think it just really depends on what it is and how you move through it and if it needs prep work beforehand. But typically, I'll take stuff in snippets just to get an idea of what it is that I'm saying, who I'm saying it to, what's the purpose of my saying it, and how do I pronounce this word? Right? Good question, though. Letty says, my why is that I found voiceover an awesome job. I love every step of it and want to keep learning everything about it. And you've been my inspiration. Thank you so much. You guys inspire me to keep going. You guys are amazing. Oh, hold on. Another super chat. Oh my gosh. Halima. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you guys. So nice. Oh, stop, you guys. Suze. Thank you so much. Oh, make me all emotional, guys. I'm trying to keep my composure. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to help. Thank you so much, you guys. Oh, you guessed it. Lost my place. Okay, here we are. Thank you, guys. Randy Carpenter. When someone likes your audition and agrees to use you for their audiobook, do they pay you up front or pay you after you are finished? If it's a pay for production, meaning that you're getting a lump sum, you're not sharing in royalties, I will do 50% up front and then 50% due when the book is done. And I find that doing that helps to protect me from engaging with scammers, because scammers don't want to pay you anything, right? They just want to take the work and run. So if you tell the client up front, hey, I would love to work with you. This is how I take payment. I will send you an invoice for 50% upfront via PayPal or whatever it is. And then the remaining 50% is due at the end of the book when the book is done and you're satisfied with it, right? So, and then at that point, they understand they have an expectation of how it's going to happen. And if they have ill intent, they will say, "No, thank you. I'm going to bow out." But if they are a rights holder and they're really anxious or, happy they're legit people, I should say, they will be, "Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Let's get started." And I'll, send me the invoice. Let's get started. So that's usually how I approach that. And then Louis, stop it. You're making me all self-conscious, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your super chats. You guys are amazing. You guys are all amazing. And I appreciate you a lot more than you know. And then I lost my place. Okay, I think we're here at Andy B. Chris VGL, thank you for the words of encouragement, VO coach. Maybe I need a life coach. Seriously, maybe write down what I want that I can reasonably accomplish rather than the reverse. Yes, stop telling yourself that you can't or that you need this to achieve Y. I need X to achieve Y. I can't get to Y because I need to get to X, or I need this microphone. I need this coach. I need this plugin. I need this chair. Whatever it is. Stop telling yourself that and just keep moving forward regardless. Everything will work out. As long as you just keep moving forward, you will discover that maybe your microphone wasn't the issue. Maybe it was just a connection, right? So you don't need a new microphone. I mean, just keep learning and growing and moving forward. Don't hold yourself back with self-limiting beliefs, right? I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. Stop it. Just keep moving forward. Find something else to ruminate on. That also goes for the future for all of us, right? Like when we set goals that we think are too big, we ruminate too much on the future and what the possible outcomes could be that may or may not happen. There's no guarantee that what you think in your head is going to happen is going to happen. The only thing you can do is to do what you can to keep moving forward, and you will get to a place where you are happy and content and maybe even your definition of success. Right? But we cause ourselves too much anxiety, and that's where these self-limiting beliefs come from, is when we ruminate on what could be, but not what is, not what is right now. Focus on the now, what you can do now to keep moving forward, and stop ruminating on what may or may not happen in the future, right? It's another way of, I guess, setting the proper expectations. Tangent. Andy B. Shannon Flynn, thank you. Yes, Andy. See, I'm not the only one telling you to just do it. Just do it and go record something already. Kirk at Janeri Rubio, sign up for Audiobook Scout. It vets all ACX books and warns of scammers and oddities. Not 100% perfect, but very good. Yes, audiobookscout.com. I think I have a video here on Audiobook Scout. I think the video is called Tools, a couple of tools to help you to not get scammed on ACX, something like that. But I talk about Audiobook Scout here in one of my videos. So check it out. Halima, Happy New Year, Angela, and everyone. Yes, again, thank you for the super chat. You guys are amazing. VoiceOver Van Deen, Mandy Zines voice. If you don't want to run them as FX, just duplicate the track in Reaper in case of gremlins. Right-click, open an external editor, and make your changes in RX, save it, then back to R. See, look at all the useful information that we get from just other people joining in and contributing. You guys are amazing. Michael V. Something I'm doing for practice is recording books just for my new grandson. Oh, congratulations on your new grandson. See, that's practice. Absolutely. EPHS. Try sitting on your iPhone recording your jammies. Oh my god, you guys are hilarious. Hat Bowser. Some intrepid soul finally was hired for that 26-hour Whitney Webb book, One Nation Under Blackmail, and it's in production now. I'm dying to know who is doing it. 26 hours. Wow. That's a big one. Musical Neptunian. At Randy Carpenter, one limitation to GarageBand is that it limits some export options, does not export in mono. I'd avoid it as a DAW, but it is your choice. Mhm. Facebook user says, Angela, hi. Hold on. I got to know who this is. Let me go to, that's the one thing I forgot to do was to pull up my Facebook. How come it's not? Where's the video? Hmm. I don't know why I can. Oh, here it is. Duh. Hang on. Oh, Edson. There it is. Let me turn down. I can hear myself. Fail. Well, hello. How are you? Thanks for joining. And then Blaze, little sunglasses. Shannon, I think I need more coffee. LOL. I forgot to say the author's advice she gave. She said maybe slow down a little when narrating. I do that too. I read fast. So I narrate fast. I have to tell myself, I have to make myself slow down to about 50% when I'm speaking. Because this is how I normally speak. I normally speak very fast. I read very fast. But I get it. Yeah. You have to clearly, concisely, and then slow down about 50% if you're a fast reader. You know, yeah. It takes practice. Mandy says $200. What's $200? For the 5 words. Yeah. It doesn't happen all the time, but yeah, I mean, when conditions are right and they have the rights and they have everything that they need, that's crazy. Yeah. Shannon says, "Wait, you can use auditions for demos?" Yeah, and samples on ACX. Absolutely. Get some use out of all that mileage. Halima says, "Hi, Angela. I have rewatched your video about setting up Fiverr account last night and added some extra to my son's VO account to add commercial rights as. How is $20 per 50 to 75 words to start with? As a brand new seller, you might find difficulty in just the price point, but you never know. Try it. I mean, if you don't get any impressions or clicks, then you might want to consider revising that because I think $20 per 50 to 75 words as a base gig is where a lot of top rated sellers are, but not so much new sellers. But that doesn't mean that you can't. Try it and see if it works. If it doesn't, then you might want to take a look at everybody else around you and what they're offering just to be sort of closer to the same page price wise to, I, I don't know, but try it. Try it and see if it works. Siobhan, could you show that book one more time? Um, and again, this book, if you go to my website, voiceoverangela.com, it is on my VO gear. It's a recommended thing, right? I have a lot of recommendations on my website for microphones and interfaces, books like this one. This one is a voice actor by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. Their second edition spectacular. Mandy Vine says, Siobhan Williams, it's on her website. Yes, I have everything that I recommend to get you started is on my website under VO Gear. There's a lot of recommendations on there. Kind of like a one place to go for hopefully some ideas on what to get for yourself. PB, Shannon Flynn, congrats on your first audiobook deal. Did you get that on ACX, Fiverr, or another? And then JCCAOL says, the breathing techniques helped with everything. I went to the Physio channel and Mr. Physio on YouTube. You know, I'm writing that down. Physio. Thank you for sharing. Elizabeth says, my quick frog cure. Oh, yes. Give me the frog cures. I use the flat part of my knuckles and lightly tap at base of my throat for several seconds while clearing my throat or swallowing. Helped me get through doing a lot of outdoor theater. Really? So the flat part of your knuckles like this? and lightly tap at the base of your throat, down here for several seconds, and then clear your throat or swallow. I don't Is that what you mean, like down here? I don't know if I could do that, though. I had my thyroid removed, so I might be just, like, punching my windpipe at that point. But is that what you mean? Tell me if I'm wrong. Siobhan Williams says, "What do you recommend as acceptable payment methods, i.e., Venmo, PayPal, etc.? What's the most reliable?" There's a lot of debate on this, but you could use QuickBooks. QuickBooks has invoicing systems. I use PayPal and Payoneer because they are the two most widely accepted that I have found. I have never had an issue with PayPal. I love PayPal. I've had them for years. I use a PayPal business account. So I've always used PayPal. But there are other options if you choose. Halima says, "Do you train kids? I want to open a second gig on Fiverr for audiobooks for my son." I've never trained a kid apart from my own. And not even in voiceover, just, in life, just having a child. I've never I couldn't even tell you the youngest person that I've ever mentored. Maybe early 20s. Um, I don't know. But I don't see why I couldn't, because it would be roughly the same information, right? Um, Louie. Stop it. Thank you for the super chat, Louie. If I posted a reflections post for the VO Facebook group, would members share their Q&As for the live with everyone in the post comment sections? Reflections post for would members share their Q&As for the live with everyone in the post comment section? Maybe. Would they? Would you? I lost the voice again. Thank you for the super chat, Louie. You rock. It's good to see you again. Anyway, Siobhan says, "What do you recommend as acceptable payment methods?" I think we just read this one. I went too far back. Okay, Randy says, "Is it harder to get an audiobook deal for someone that has a Southern accent?" I don't know. I don't know. I've heard it both ways from people with natural Southern accents, that some say it's difficult, some say it's okay. I mean, it's not hard. I think you'd have to look for books that are specifically looking, or not books, but rights holders that are specifically looking for a Southern accent. But I don't know if it's harder. I think you would be a little bit more limited to a specific accent. But if you can practice having a general American accent where there's nothing specific, then that might be advantageous for you anyway, right? And especially when you get into characters and stuff like that, if you can do more than one accent, it's definitely going to help you, right? FTL baby. Thank you, Angela. I am submitting my first audition this month. Thanks to your invaluable videos. Well, good. Congratulations. Just do it and record something. Go record something, right? That's awesome. Congratulations. Go get it. Musical Neptunian, 26 hours for a book. Yeah. I am doing a 44-hour monster for LibriVox. Also written in the 1600s, so it's English, not English. Wow. Kudos to you. That is a biggin. 44 hours, meaning 440,000 words. That's a lot. How long did they give you to do that? How long do you estimate that's going to take you to finish? In English. Wow. Gabby Raja says, "Good audible listens. Heads will roll. Ensemble cast, though. And Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. She was spectacular." Thank you for the recommendations, guys. If you have recommendations for good listens on Audible, definitely share them. I'm always listening, watching out for good listens. Shannon Flynn says, "The audiobook job was with ACX." Cool beans. Halima says the base gig is $5. We are on Fiverr over a year now. I was asking the price for the commercial rights. Oh, I gotcha. Commercial rights would be $20, and then your full broadcast rights would be $30, $50. I mean, you make those prices whatever you want them to be. But what I always say, and is what I recommend doing, is taking a look at all of the voice actors around your similar level and see what they're charging for commercial rights and full broadcast rights to get an idea of what you should be charging. That will definitely help give you an idea of what to charge. Michael V says, how does one go about finding an accountability partner? You could find people that will help keep you accountable in Facebook groups. If you can join like a mastermind group where people are giving their time and they meet weekly, monthly to keep each other accountable and maybe learn from each other, that would be a good place to find an accountability partner. If you're in several Facebook groups, if there's someone in the group with you that you know, maybe reach out to them and say, "Hey, do you want to do this with me? I will keep you accountable if you keep me accountable, right? Let's do this together. Let's partner up." That's what I would do. Find somebody that you know and trust and ask them if you could do this for each other. Siobhan says, teacher thoughts. If you wanted to coach children, you might consider taking the same info and making it more palatable for kids, depending on the age. Their attention span is shorter, and the amount of, she continues, info they can process at one time is less. Absolutely. Yeah, you would definitely have to change it up to make it more interesting, engaging, and understandable for children, for sure. Louie says, any votes? Are you guys willing to share your Q&As after the live? Are ya? Well, are ya? Louie says, Michael V post on the Facebook group for like-minded people in the group. Leslie, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through these last few comments. I got to get going. I didn't realize how late it was. Leslie says, do you suggest I do several samples in ACX before auditioning? I say do several samples in ACX and then audition. Do both. And then you can use those auditions as you go forward, as you're auditioning, and then add those to your samples. I don't think there's a limit to how many samples you can have. And obviously, the more samples you have, the more of a wider umbrella or net you're casting for people to find you, right? So put as many samples up as you want. More the better. Gary says, masonry construction. My point is that just getting paid one time on Fiverr by a client and getting a review proves you are a pro. You got paid. As others have said, just do it. Just do it. Just do it already. Just go record something. These guys are going to shoot me. Stop saying that. Randy says, as a VO newbie, what would you recommend starting with Fiverr or ACX? Both. ACX probably, because Fiverr's a lot of work. There's a lot of babysitting and a lot of sitting on top of it and keeping on top of questions. And Fiverr's a lot, but it's definitely worth it once you start to get to a certain point on Fiverr. But ACX is just audiobooks, and ACX isn't available everywhere. But Fiverr is, and Fiverr's more work. But both, if it had to be one or the other, I'd say ACX and then Fiverr. Then you also have Upwork. Upwork's another great one. Ross says, hey, Angela, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Ross. Thanks for joining, Ross. Elizabeth says, yes, slightly tapping above that U curve area at the base of the throat, but not on the U. Okay, so like around here, sort of. And yes, you got the flat part of the knuckles part right. It gets the blood moving and warms up the area. Interesting. I'll have to try that. I'm going to try it off camera because I might, end up punching myself in the throat or something because, I'm just that person that weird stuff happens to. Weird accidents always happen to me. Mary HPVO says, I use my calendar to keep myself accountable. I make weekly marks for auditions and updating samples. I think that's great. I think I'm one of those people that writes everything down. I write it down, so it's in front of me, I can mark it off, I can see it, I don't forget it, it's there. And I guess that is like goal setting, right? You write down what you need to get done for the day in order of priority or by time in which it needs to happen. So I do that, and it definitely keeps me on track. It keeps me on point and reminds me of everything that needs to be done, right? So that's what I do. And also when I need to be at taekwondo for my son, stuff like that. All right, you guys. That is all for today, I think. But definitely join me next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I thank you all for taking some time out of your busy days to spend some time with me and the rest of the community here. I thank you for that. And for everyone who super chatted, thank you again. If you have any comments or suggestions for Audible reads and you're watching this in the replay, please leave it in the comment section below so everybody else can see your suggestions. I appreciate you, everybody, for joining again today, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.